This is by far the move with the highest probability in soccer, and that's what everyone is looking for today. Arsenal even took it several levels further because they invested in a set-piece coach named Nico Jover, who basically makes all the difference for them in set-piece situations, and that's very smart, I have to say. Especially considering that set-pieces are the only situation in soccer. It's not temporary, it's always the same, and Arsenal maximizes it with some very effective patterns. One is called deception, basically a trick. You deceive the defense by faking a move to one spot to clear another area on the field. First of all, it's important to say, the most important statistic is that in-swinging corners have a higher probability of going in. Left side corners are usually taken by right-footed players like Declan Rice. Right side corners are typically taken by left-footed players such as Madueke or Saka. Now, it's important to point out that in almost all of Arsenal's set-piece routines, there are two players, the two centre-backs, who play a very central role. Saliba is usually positioned next to the goalkeeper, right on the goal line to disrupt and stand there along with another defender, while Gabriel is positioned around the penalty spot. He's now the key player because he attacks the ball with his movement and might be the world's best at it. Now notice that the deception happens here because the ball is actually crossed to the far post, while everyone runs to the near post except for one or two players, or just one player who stays there. Sometimes it's Gioca, for example, sometimes it's a player like Gabriel who attacks that area. This creates a situation where the entire defense, which usually marks zonally because it's impossible to mark all the players man-to-man in that area, runs with the attacking players who are heading to the near post as a group. But one player whom they don't know who it will be is left alone to head the ball either towards the goal or more often to head it across the face of the goal so that any touch turns it into a goal with a very high probability. But you're probably asking yourselves, so what's the problem? Leaving a player at the far post all the time isn't actually what happens. What makes this so effective is the second pattern, which is actually called the near post overload. In the first pattern, everyone runs to the near post except for one or two players. In the second pattern, everyone runs towards the near post. And it creates a situation where there's a crowd of Arsenal players at the near post, which is the weak spot, the weak link, and the beauty is that Arsenal knows how to play with this in so many ways. There are all kinds of small nuances and minor changes between the different patterns they use, but that's the foundation. And they have another main option that was taken from the world of football and basketball, as I said, both, which is actually the screen. If you call it a pick and roll in soccer, then that's what it is. The overload isn't just for the sake of overloading and attacking the ball, but rather to create a situation where one player is free for a header inside the box. This is done by overloading a certain area on the pitch, usually, again, inside the 6-yard box, to prevent the defenders from stepping out, and there's no way for them to stop it. Even though, as I said, you can't really do a pick and roll in soccer, you can still use your body and stand in a certain area, because in the end, this crowd of players prevents others from getting to certain areas on the pitch.